Hey everybody, it's finally Friday, and I'm really glad because it's been a long week. I've been kind of sick and tired and, but enough about me complaining because I'm actually starting to feel better. I am still congested, and when you sniffle a lot and then you sneeze a lot and then people look at you like, you have the plague. And I'm like, no, I promise, I'm on antibiotics, everything's good. But anyway, so I'll be glad to be through with this. So since it's Friday, I'm on Facebook and I have 3 questions as well as a journal topic. Thanks, Lydia, for that. Wow, I'm having trouble speaking today. But without further ado, let's get started. First question. Hi, Katie. Hope all is well. Here's my question. Would it be appropriate for me to ask my therapist to come and see one of my dance performances? I've been seeing her since March and will be continuing to see her for my depression, eating disorder, etc. My show isn't until January. Would it be okay to ask her to come? Would that be overstepping boundaries? Thanks. Well, this is a really good question because it's something that has been on my mind more and more lately, is like the boundaries within therapy and therapeutic relationship and how we navigate that and what's okay and what's not okay. And this is a perfect example of something that's definitely okay. Now, as a therapist, ethically, it's not a legal matter, it's ethical. It's up to us to decide kind of what we think is appropriate for our patients. Now, I've gone to patients' performances before, whether they're in plays or even sports games and stuff, depending on what I feel is good for them. Sometimes it's part of the healing process and me showing them and, expressing care for something that we've been working on. Like this was a step they took, like joining a dance team or joining a sport or playing an instrument or whatever it is. Then I would definitely go, and that will be part of our treatment plan, would be that they, would have that and we would talk about it. Where the line is drawn is different from every person, but like weddings, we don't usually attend because then how do we tell family members how we know the bride or the groom or who are we? It gets a little tricky when it gets to that stuff. But when it comes to random people coming to watch whoever, is up on stage and there's no real interaction where we have to communicate with others to tell them why we're here or who we know, then it's usually fine. So I hope that kind of helps explain it. Boundaries with therapy can be very, gray, and it's kind of hard to tell what's best, but that's how I usually decipher, is if I'm going to have to interact with someone and tell them why I'm here or who I know, then I probably won't go, because that would be, I don't want to, breach confidentiality with my patient. Okay, question number 2. Hey, Katie, I'm being bullied a lot at work, and I'm not sure how to deal with it. I've tried to stand up for myself several times, but it always backfires, making me feel even smaller. I was bullied as a child in school, and I was emotionally abused by my sister, so I tend to take it and not say anything. But lately, I've been coming home from work and just crying my eyes out. What can I do? Help! Keep up the awesome videos. Well, thank you. I want to talk about this because the annoying thing I find, and this is like a sociological observation, with people, bullies tend to find those of us who've been bullied before. Like she said, I usually tend to take it, and they tend to find us. I don't know if it's just them noticing that we're more easygoing or more passive, or we don't really like confrontation or conflict, or I don't know what it is, but it tends to happen. And so something that I would do, since you've already tried standing up for yourself, because my number one thing to always tell people is speak up for yourself. I find it's better to not yell, don't raise your voice, but to say things like, we're all adults here, and I would appreciate if you didn't speak to me that way. Or, I've noticed that you're being very pushy with me, and that's not the way that I operate and work. Or whatever you need to say. I don't know exactly what's going on. So depending on the situation, I would encourage all of you, if this is happening to you, to speak up for yourself, to try to resolve it between you and your coworker. If that doesn't work, go to HR, human resources, if you don't know what I'm talking about. HR, that's what they're there for. They're there for you to potentially file complaints against people. If this person is up the level in seniority or is your boss or someone like that, then even worse, you definitely can file a report and a complaint against them that way. But I would go to HR and let them know what's going on, let them know that you've tried to speak up for yourself, because that's what they're there for. At the very worst, they will make you sit down with a boss, like the big boss, and you'll have to try to work it out. They'll mediate. And so then you can really put together your plan about what you want to say and how you want to say it, and come prepared. And, I know that sounds really scary, and a lot of you are like, oh, I don't want that to happen. Holy shit. But you deserve it. You don't need to feel scared to go to work. You don't have to come home from work and cry. You deserve more than that. And bullies need to be put in their place, and they can get fired. And people can't treat people like that. And we can't have a hostile work environment. So those are your rights. I'd go to HR. I'd file a complaint. I'd do everything you could, because you shouldn't have to go through that. That's not fair, right? And that's not right. Okay. Question number, and if anybody has any advice on that, if you guys know more about it, because I work for myself mostly, and then I've worked in clinics, and it's a very small niche group of people, and I never really had this whole hierarchy. So if you have more experience, you can tell me more of the steps that you went through when you did file a complaint or talk to HR, that would be great. Let us know. Question number 3, can we have PTSD even if we can't remember all the details of our abuse? Yes. We can have PTSD if we don't even remember we're abused. We can have all the symptoms, because there's this interesting thing in our brain where it can decide what we remember or not. It's almost like it's part of dissociation to me. I know that there's a lot of people that disagree or think something different, but part of dissociation is our brain's survival technique to like pull us out of it so that we can kind of still manage our life and still deal enough. It allows us to like forget and not be present for bad things like that. And so we can definitely have PTSD even if you don't remember the details. I would encourage you, if any of you are out there and you feel like you have all the symptoms of PTSD and you're really struggling, find a therapist that works with PTSD, that specializes in it, works with abuse victims, even if yours isn't abuse. They tend to be more well-versed in a lot of the CBT techniques that we use when it comes to PTSD. And they can be a little softer and slower, and they'll understand your process a little more. So that's what I would encourage you to do. But yes, you can definitely have those symptoms without even remembering the abuse. Okay, now the journal topic, thanks again, Lydia, for this, says, don't worry about those who talk behind your back. They're behind you for a reason. I really like that. I'm going to say it again. Don't worry about those who talk behind your back. They're behind you for a reason. It's very powerful. I like it. And she says, what are you worrying about this weekend that you shouldn't? So that's part of her journal topic. So I would write that quote down, write about what that means to you. Maybe it's like self-empowerment. You're ahead of them. You're in front of them, you know. If they don't have the guts to say something to your face, then they can just shut the hell up, you know. Stuff like that can be really empowering. And also, what are you worrying about this weekend that you shouldn't? Let's all have a free, wonderful weekend filled with fun and hopefully not too much sweat. It's really hot here in LA again. And enjoy yourself, and send me pictures of you doing fun things with your friends and your family and your pets and all that stuff, because I love to see it. I'll see you all on Monday, and I'll be on Tumblr on Tuesday, so ask your questions there. Bye!